talking nonsense, particularly with the Anana incident, the Arsenal game where he was talking utter nonsense, which he's reiterating there. This is the most deluded manager currently in the Premier League by some stretch.
That Erik is delusional. I want you guys to watch how they dismantle the hang, how they knock the hang, how they, God, this life, when you lie, the thing will come back at you as long as you're not giving results that are backing your lies. So just make sure you share this video, watch it, and drop a comment what you think. What do you think about ESPN? Let's go.
Find their worst start in the Premier League. Don Hutchinson joins us. We'll be hearing from Don in a moment. But Craig, they've just been unlucky.
Well, we've talked about this manager who had quite a lot of praise last year, and rightly so after a bad start. We've talked about him this year in previous games. Wolves game, where he was talking nonsense, particularly with the Anana incident. The Arsenal game, where he was talking utter nonsense, which he's reiterating there. This is the most deluded manager currently in the Premier League by some stretch, right? How can you be unlucky when you have a clear penalty not given to Wolves when you've been dominated at the end of the game? How can you have a dubious offside against Forest and then a Marcus Rashford dive for a penalty? How can you still say that Rasmus Højlund in the Arsenal game was a penalty kick and then talk about an offside? Offsides are not subjective. They're black and white, it's on or off. And then to talk about this game in fine moments, the ball was out of play. Shall we change the laws for Erik Ten Hag and Man United, or shall we go with the ball was out of play? And by the way, they had a very good 10 to 15 minutes at the start of this game, and then they were absolutely schooled by a Brighton side that also made 6 changes. They made 6 changes from the team that beat Newcastle. They've got Man United rejects like Danny Welbeck. They've got people like Lamptey, who was no longer wanted at Chelsea, and he's a right back playing at left back. Right? They have a bunch of guys that nobody else at elite level really wanted, and De Zerbi has coached the hell out of them. And they completely, and the way they played it, I mean, Lewis Dunk is not the quickest player by a long stretch. He played for England at Hampden in midweek. That guy just never seems flustered to me, and it starts from steal in goal, to Dunk to the fullbacks, to Gross, to De Hood, to Matoma. The way they play is brilliant, and it's no surprise the result, but what is a surprise is this guy managing Man United who thinks they're just unlucky. What utter nonsense that is.
Can't really think that, can you, Steve?
Ten Hag now always finding excuses. After the Arsenal game, it was the referee and the VAR, and this was not. Now he comes up with this stupid line about small margin. There was no small margin on Saturday. It was a huge margin between Brighton and Manchester United. There was no small margin. And by the way, his game plan was pathetic. That diamond midfield was never going to work against a team like this. Far too intelligent with the manager, far too clever for Ten Hag saying, hey, you know what, let's put Scott McTominay. I mean, come on, of all people on that right-hand side, the poor kid. I mean, I don't like Scott McTominay. I don't rate him, but he was completely lost in a team that was itself completely lost in that game. And against them, like Frank said, you've got this incredible team that can keep the ball under pressure so well, better than maybe even Manchester City, and the movement is so perfect and precise, everything is just so good. And when they play against a team like really completely lost like United were on Saturday, then you see the contrast is so big. And for me, Ten Hag should have raised his hand and said, listen, I got this completely wrong. The game plan was dire. To play Rashford and Højlund like that up front didn't make any sense whatsoever, even if United started okay. And after that, they were just taught a lesson. It was a lesson of football. And the longer that Ten Hag is himself in denial by saying, no, we're not that far actually, it's never our fault, it's the referee, it's this, it's that, it's small margin, the further they're going to fall behind, because he needs to wake up now, and so do the club and the players, because we said how bad Chelsea were. United are not much better at all, despite all that money, the 250 million they spent or something.
Can we talk about that? Because Brighton is I think, right now, maybe the second or the third best team in the Premier League. And it's not by it's not randomly. It's because they have an idea of what to do, and the players, they know how to put themselves into the game. Manchester United, they have the talent, but right now Ten Hag is suffering with maybe egos of the players because of injuries, because of maybe bad decisions, because of maybe a bad leadership from himself in the dressing room. But it doesn't work. It will have to change something. It will have to make the players competing all together. Otherwise, it's not going to work, and they're going to be smashed by teams like Brighton 10 times by every time they're going to play against those teams.
But we